morning and welcome to the next episode of the Grey Nomad Knits in my Lose Weight 10 Kilos in 10 Weeks challenge to raise money for Andrew and Andrea Doig of the Fruityknitting Podcast. I'll be posting a link along the bottom of the screen, so if you feel like you would like to donate something towards their medical expenses, please use this PayPal link. You will have to have a PayPal account first, and I'm sure any donation, however small it may be, will be hugely appreciated. My name is Jill and I'm coming to you from Perth, Western Australia on a very cloudy and overcast day. We've just had a cyclone brewing up north. It crossed the coast at Kalbarri in the early hours of this morning, I think. And gosh, poor Kalbarri has taken an absolute battering. Roofs off, houses wrecked. And very sadly, one man up in Coral Bay has lost his life. So very sad times up there. Here in Perth, we were supposed to get torrential rain as a result of the cyclone. And although we have had rain, it certainly hasn't been torrential where we live. And it hasn't really rained that much at all. But that's all good. No flooding or anything like that for us to worry about. No roof damage or anything. And it hasn't really even been that windy here either. So all my thoughts are going to those people up on the further north from here. I hope you're all safe and that you can get all your damage cleared up pretty quickly. Okay, so it's very humid here today. It's only going to be 23 degrees, but I'm wearing my this lovely top I made, but it's a bit warm. Oh gosh, it escapes me the name of this now, but I will find it and post it for you in the show notes below. It's made from a sport weight wool, which here in Australia is a 5-ply, and it's Alize, A-L-I-Z-E wool, which my husband bought for me when he went to Mongolia and Russia a couple of years ago. He actually went into a wool shop and bought this, so I was very impressed. Okay, I'll just talk a little bit about my knitting. We have been away, as you all know, for Easter, so it's 2 weeks since I've been on here. And while we were away, we did a lot of socialising, so I didn't actually get a lot of time to just sit and knit. And since we've been back, we have been also very busy socialising for the last week, so I haven't had a lot of evenings where I've been able to just sit and bring out the knitting needles. But I have still made some quite good progress on this final square in my Marie Wallen blanket. Now, I never usually finish something in the middle of a row, but last night I was getting very tired and I had made a mistake. I tinked back and I just couldn't find it, and then when I looked down I found a drop stitch about 10 rows below. So the row before, when I completed it, was all correct. So I must have just dropped that stitch and it's travelled itself all the way down. So I picked it up, but I was too tired to continue on with the end of that row. And I thought, if I do it, I'm just going to make more mistakes. So that's why I'm this far in. But I will finish it later on today. I've only got about another 10 or 12 rows to do, and this will be finished. So when I come to you next week, I'm hoping to have it finished, and then it will be a matter of sewing them all together and picking up hundreds and hundreds of stitches. I think there's 300 and something stitches on every side of the blanket. I think on the longer size there's even 400 and something. And it's a corrugated rib, and as you know, I can't do two-handed colour work knitting, so having to change colour for every stitch takes a little bit of time. So it will be a slow progress. So before I start that, I'll just show you how lovely is this. I've had to shut my blinds because it was a little bit glary. This is coming on really nicely. And this is the wrong side. I've still got, these threads are all woven in. I knit them in as I go, so I've just got to snip those off. I do have some ends on the edges, like here, no, like somewhere. Oh, of course I haven't got any on this one. Sometimes I get them on the edge when I'll only weave in 2 threads at a time, otherwise it gets too thick and bulky. So sometimes you might finish with 2 colours and then have start 2 colours for the next row. So what I do is I weave in the 2 colours I've finished with, then when I come back to that end in 2 rows time, I weave in the other 2. But sometimes it doesn't work out, and so if I have more than 2, sometimes I'll just leave them at the edge and I will sew those into the seam later on. That's not a problem for me because I don't mind, unlike most knitters. I don't mind. I hope I haven't just dropped another stitch. I don't mind the sewing up later. I get a great sense of accomplishment knowing that I'm in the final stages of a project when I'm sewing something up. And I love seeing how it all comes together. So that is not a problem for me. So when I finish this square, I'll be putting it aside for a few days because I want to get my Alice Starmore cardigan steeped and get ready to pick up the button bands on that. And that will be a bit scary, so I will film it the best I can because I don't have the best camera equipment. And I'll also do a few more rows on my double knitting scarf. So as I don't have a lot of knitting to show you, I thought I would show you a little bit of the stash I've got put away. You would see in the video at the beginning my lovely wool cabinet that I have. That is not all my stash, trust me. I'm going to show you a little bit of what I had on that top shelf, and then I thought over the coming weeks I could show you a little bit more. Whenever I've purchased wool, I've always purchased it with a pattern or a project in mind. Now I can't quite remember at this stage what they were, or the patterns were that I bought this wool for, but I do have it written down on a spreadsheet. So when it comes time, I will know. So I'll start off by showing you this, and I have packed it all into Ziploc bags because I don't want any little moths or bugs to get into it. Now the colour's not going to show up terribly well because of the lighting today, but this is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. I'll just get out one to show you. So I think you can see where the light is shining on. It's a beautiful shade of plum, which is one of my favourite colours. You'll see me wearing lots of the pinky, purpley, plummy shades. This colourway is called Thistle, very apt. It's, let me see what the content is. It's a worsted weight yarn, American Targhee Columbia wool. Now I believe it can actually come apart a bit when you're knitting with it, so I haven't knitted with a wool like that before, so that will be quite interesting. I do have a jumper pattern set aside for this, but yeah, when I get to do it, you'll see what it is. So that's really nice. I bought this when I was in Sydney at the beautiful Skane Sisters store. If you're ever in Sydney, you must go, just Google them to get the address, and it's quite easy to get to on public transport. And their store is one of the most beautiful wool stores in Australia, I would say. And they have such a wonderful range, and the staff are so very, very helpful. So big shout out to Skane Sisters in Sydney. I just wish they were a bit closer to Perth. I'm just going to pop that back in there. And the next one I want to show you, oh, I just love this. And I have actually got a beautiful jacket pattern with cables on it that I'm going to use this for. This is American Cormo. I'm not quite sure what that is, coming from Australia, which is home of the merino. And wool. Wool and spun in the USA. And it's made by Harrisville Yarns, and it's their Nightshades range. Now their Nightshades range is like 5 or 6 varieties of black. And this one is called Talk Radio. Now it's really going to be hard, it's just going to look black here. But if you saw it in the daylight, you would see it's got very subtle flecks of pinks and blues in it. So it's not just a plain black. It's really lovely, and I think it's another one of these ones that could break apart as I knit with it, but I think it will show up the cables absolutely beautifully. It's a DK weight, although I think it does look quite thick to me, but it will be lovely and warm when we do some of those caravan holidays down in the south, or when we're over in Tasmania on holidays. So yeah, it probably is a DK weight. I'm really looking forward to doing that one. The last one I want to show you today is a yarn from Virtual Yarns, which is Alison Jade Starmore. I've bought it to make this design, which is the Strathspey, which I absolutely love. It's got that tucked in at the waist with that flared, I guess almost like a peplin effect. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and it will look so nice even with just a pair of jeans. You can buy this as a kit on her website, and you can select which colour of her yarns you wish to do it in. And it uses her, let me just see, where's the yarn? It uses her Hebridean 3-ply, which I think is the equivalent of 8-ply in Australia, or a DK weight. And I bought this colour, which is Pebble Beach. And once again, you cannot really see the colours, but if I hold it really close, you can see how many different colours are in there. And it is just like the pebbles on a beach. It's beautiful. Now, a lot of people would find this a bit itchy, but I believe, and I don't find it really itchy at all. It's actually very soft, but you can still feel the wooliness to it. And I think when it's washed, it will soften up even more. So that is something else that I'm really looking forward to. I think as knitters, we all have that problem of not enough hours in the day to knit all the projects that we want to knit. And sadly, all the other chores have to be done as well. But that's okay. I'm not working much at the moment, so it's all good. Now, my weight loss program has stalled a bit over the Easter break because we had so many social functions. And this coming week, we're going to be out for dinner 3 nights. Wednesday night, possibly Thursday night, and Saturday night. So it's going to be another tough week. I probably started this at totally the wrong time of year. But after after Saturday night, everything is settling down and we have no more social engagements for a while. So I'll just do the best I can this week. And then after that, hopefully it will be all systems go. It's obviously going to take me longer than 10 weeks. But what I'm going to do is keep this podcast going until I reach the 10 kilos off. And then I'll slow it down to probably once a month. And I'll keep you updated because I will have to lose a lot more than 10 kilos. But at the moment, it's all good. I've started walking. The Heart Foundation of Australia has started up a 6-week walking challenge, which I found on Facebook. And you send them in a few of your own personal details, and they tailor a walking program that's suited for you. And I did start my walking down in Denmark, but I went bang straight into it, up this enormous hill. Oh my goodness, I don't know. I had to stop and get a few deep breaths, trust me. The main trouble with that walk is the bush path was very gravelly, and a lot of Australians will know that pea gravelly stuff and a lot of gum nuts had fallen off the gum trees. So it was absolutely treacherous to walk on. In hindsight, I should have probably taken a hiking stick with me because I did get a bit unsteady on my feet at times. However, I did it. It took me an hour, 15 minutes the first time I did it. That's mainly because I kept stopping to take photos to show you guys. And the second time I did it, I left the camera at the house and just walked. And it took me 55 minutes that time. So now that I'm back home, I'm settling into my walking program from the Heart Foundation. So for week 1, it was, for me, 3 walks for the week and just 20 minutes each time. This week it increases to 25 minutes each time. So I'll just do the same walk I did, but add a tiny little extra loop to take up the extra 5 minutes. There are just a couple of small hills. The first one's a lot bigger than the second one, and I do still get very out of breath, but I managed to get up the second hill now a lot easier. So hopefully that's a sign that I'm building up a bit of fitness. So I want to lose weight for my fitness. It's not really about it's nice to wear nice clothes and to feel like you look good. But for me, it's more about getting my legs moving and becoming a little more fit, building up my lung capacity so that when we finally can do our trip to Italy, whenever that may be, hopefully before I get to 70, I'll be able to walk up and down the streets of Rome and the small village where we'll be staying on the East Coast without too many dramas. So that's what's behind it all. And of course, side benefit, hoping to raise a little bit of money to help out Andrew and Andrea. Well, I think that's about all I have for today. I'm going to finish by showing you a bit of video from the walk I did and some photos. And you'll see how out of breath I got and how red in the face I got. And I shall see you back here in a week. So cheerio and happy knitting and have a good week. Bye. Heading off for my first serious walk. We'll see how I go. There's a lot of uphill and it's just after 9 o'clock in the morning and we'll see how long it takes. Quite some time, I would expect. But what nicer place could I have to walk in? Oh, I'm nearly at the top. That was tough. I'm very puffed out. So when I get to the lookout, I'm just going to sit, taking a few deep breaths and enjoy the scenery. See that T-junction up there? That means I'm nearly back. 1 hour and 10 minutes later. My legs are killing me. I'm going to go and sit down on the veranda with a nice cold drink. See you later.